Hello everybody and welcome back in. Today Jonathan Corporate has been rented out once again to the Scottish Ambulance Service in Golf Sierra Alpha Sierra Delta for a short mission to Barra Beach. Today's going to be a very challenging flight indeed. We have a initial delivery mission to Dundee Airport here from Aberdeen Dyce, and then after Dundee we'll continue on to Barra Beach. Today's plans are a little bit different because we have severe weather considerations, we have the beach considerations, the fact that we have a tide coming in and coming out at a constant rate, but thankfully we can find some of that information online and we can keep up to date. If you are interested in these kind of flights, this is a fairly new contract, and these are fairly new contracted out works that I've been doing for the company of Gamma Aviation. So this is the C90B, we're part of Gamma Aviation here at Aberdeen Dyce. We're going to do a pre-flight, quick look around, make sure the aircraft's in good state. When we get in the cockpit, I'm going to talk through everything from the procedures, so we'll go through a full checklist flight, and then we'll talk through all the flight planning aspects, the fuel planning, which I've already calculated, so don't worry, we're not going to calculate that on stream. And as you can see here, the aircraft is pretty much ready to go. Thankfully today, I had easy access to it. So once again, thank you Gamma Aviation. Sierra Alpha Sierra Delta is a really good plane to fly. The aircraft's in good condition. Go ahead and hop in. So we're inside. We do have a Navi tablet. Now I've got the checklist up on here as a reference, but I'm going to use it in the pop-out window just to make it a little bit easier for you guys to see. So documents and charts. We are going to go through this. It's just me and the pilot on board today. Let's close the door while we... In fact, no, let's do the calculation first. So documents and charts. Let's go through it. You should be able to see the window on screen now of Sky Vectors. As usual, when the planning on the channel, we go through this on where our route is. So initially, as you see, down to Dundee and then up to Barra Beach. We're going to be following literally the course of 212. I've got my notepad. And then after Dundee, the course of 286. There are no VFRs to follow today, just pure headings, and we'll hope we'll see something. Apparently, it's got VFR conditions at Barra Beach, so I go over to windy here. Now we have got quite severe weather, but as I say, it's still classed as VFR at Barra Beach, so we'll wait and see. It's obviously clearer lower down, and wait and see what it's like when we get there. Dundee's not too bad, it's just the wind, and we've got some of that stormy weather building up, but it looks like it's moving westwards, and there's a really severe down there, look at that. So yeah, wind wise, we're good. I've checked the METAR out. We're up here in Aberdeen Dyce. Minimum VFR conditions, we have minimum at Dundee Airport, but again up here at Barra it says VFR conditions, and winds are a little bit strong, but still I think achievable for this aircraft, or maybe not. There is a limit on the aircraft crosswind limit. If we do have issues, we'll be going up to Benbecula if we cannot land at Barra Beach. I've also checked out the tide times. Apparently the tide was at a high at 1:30, so it should be coming down into a low soon, which means by the time we get there it should be pretty clear. But today is a special day, so today the tide doesn't get too high or too low, which means that technically you could fly in there and it would still be pretty good. Fuel wise, we're going to do a fuel now while we are on the ground. We've got a dedicated weight and balance here by the C90B Black Hawk Evo mod. So what I've done is I've calculated the trip fuel. It says that it burns about 280 kg an hour. So I've done about an hour's worth, because Sky Vectors are saying about an hour's worth, and I think that will take about an hour there. So I've done 1 hour's worth of the trip fuel. Reserves, we need a minimum of 45 minutes. This is a legal requirement. It's something I can always talk through on streams, but it is something you will need to put in. So 45 minutes today, because it's via IFR conditions. And that's come up at 210 kg. Then I've got alternate airport. Usually I wouldn't calculate alternate, but today, because we might have to divert to Benbecula if the weather's severe at Barra, or if we've got zero visibility, of course I've had to put it in there. So that's 15 minutes, and that I've come up with about 70 kg. Taxi fuel, now I've only put 5 minutes in. I don't think we're going to have a long taxi, to be fair. It's probably going to be the initial run up at Aberdeen, which will take a while, and then we'll continue on with no issues. Climb fuel, so we're going to be climbing and cruising to 9,000 feet. I've estimated about 1 minute per climb, which is usual for a King Air, so I've put about 10 minutes in. I have rounded many of these numbers up just to make them... Usually would round the numbers up, basically, so that's why I've done it. Climb, so 10 minutes on there, which is about 47 kg. So total block fuel today, and that's the total block fuel required, is 631 kilograms. So we're going to do that now, 630. We already have 900 in apparently, but oh no, we don't. We have about 280, and it does come up with kilos and litres. We could convert it to litres, but I'm just doing it in kilos today. So what we're going to do is split. Let me get my calculator. You want to split 631 over 2 engines. That's about 315 each. So let's do 315 in this one. About there. We can't type it in, but that's as close as we can get. About 316, 317, maybe about there. And the same thing for the other side. And that's going to be the total block fuel today. So as you can see, just over what we need, 630 reserves. So again, we need 40 minutes, and that will be 45 minutes will be about 210 kg. So let's round that down to 210. We have calculated the fuel for start, taxi, and takeoff. Well, we've only put taxi fuel in, and we've calculated 5 minutes at 24 kg. It's coming up with 28 as default, so we are pretty close to default, 24. Again, we're just getting as close as we can in the numbers. There we go. So weight and balance is sorted. Just me and the co-pilot, and we've got a little bit of baggage in the back. We're going to get the initial supplies from Dundee, and then when we transfer the supplies to Barra, you know, hopefully we can do that. So fingers crossed. Right, we're going to exit the weight and balance. We're going to crack on with the checklist. Documents and charts. We've just gone through our weather and arrival and flight planning brief, as you can see on here. So all is completed there. Aircraft has been, you know, checked as the C90. The ATIS information, we'll get that on the radio. The weather's been checked. We've got the main weather conditions of rain and wind, which you'll have to be concerned about, and poor visibility. NOTAMs is none to be aware of. Fuel and payload is now calculated, and the flight plan is filed. Emergency exit. Let's go ahead and latch that. Door is secure. Control locks are removed. The controls are moving around, free and correct. The parking brake is on. The overhead panel is able to turn the emergency lights on. Let's go ahead and do that. Oxygen system test. I don't think there's actually one built into this, but we'll assume it's been checked. Circuit breakers all in. Alternate static is normal, so that's over in the co-pilots. Possibly on the co-pilots. It has been a while since I've hopped in this plane, so usually in the 350 it would be over here, and the layout is obviously slightly different here. The alternate air is normal anyway. You already know it is, guys. It's usually in that position. Cabin temp mode, vent blower is off, and automatic down here. Condition levers cut off, and we're going to bring those props fully back. Power levers idle, landing gear is down. Ice vanes extended. Fuel panel test. First of all, we probably do need to get the GPU on board. Let's call that over. Let's turn the GPU power on for when it arrives. We'll get the battery on as well. Let's do the fuel test. As you can see, we've got our fuel in the tanks here. In the cell, pretty much nothing in the cell tanks, which is, again, is absolutely fine for the trip. Battery 22 volts minimum. As usual, we're going to get that, and then the GPU will be here in a couple of seconds probably. Okay, engine anti-ice system test. So a warning. I think most of these things may be not modelled on C90 King Air Evolution. This is the C90B. This is also the X-Plane 12 default. It's not the best. It hasn't got a lot of these warning systems in it. Usually they'd be over there for the still warning testing, things like that. Right, well, we'll have to skip the items that are not actually in the cockpit then. Landing lights can be tested, so hydraulics. There we go, you can just see it illuminate red down there. Hydraulic fluid sensor, again, we want to check the enunciation when we press that, just make sure it is in fact illuminating. Cockpit lights. Let's get master panel lights on, and we'll stick the overhead panel on bright. We're going to need as much light as we can get today. Avionics, let's just go ahead and put them all bright. This does have persistent systems when you get the Evo mod, so there's a good bonus. Right, GPU man has arrived. He's going to keep us charged. Cabin safety check is completed. We're going to keep the cabin door secure because expecting some turbulent conditions on departure, windy conditions mostly. So fuel panel test, circuit breakers are in, battery is on, fuel shutter valves hidden down here on the C90B. Go ahead and close them. Crossfeed is open. Check a beer for the fuel crossfeed. Fuel crossfeed is illuminated, and turn it off again, and of course it goes off. Boost pumps. Yeah, just checking the annunciation panel. It keeps telling me to check the battery is on, but we know the battery is on. Let's just check the GPU is in fact connected. Yeah, you can hear it outside. It has come online. Transfer pumps. Auto listen for operations. So let's go auto. I think I can hear it a little bit in the background. It is very, very quiet, but it is going on there. Let me just crank up the volume here for you guys. It's the sound of rain on the windows at the moment. So transfer pumps. If either fails, conduct transfer test. Leave that on automatic then. Fuel quantity is checked. Fuel panel check complete. Transfer pump test. Just return them, hold left. Check the panel up here. Right side. Good. No fuel pressure illuminates momentarily. Try that one more time. They are illuminating, I can see them. Let's do the transfer pumps off. Feet steps to the right, right, I see. And then turn them off. Transfer is complete. So keep the boost pumps on for now. Batteries on, manifold closed. Generator ties, anti-ice actuator select standby. Engine anti-ice off. Well, they were never illuminated to begin with, the anti-ice things, it never lit up. Okay, back to main. Anti-ice switch is coming on. You can see now they're illuminated, so there they are. And manifold ties are closed as well. That's pretty quick for that test. Either the main or standby actuator must be operational each engine before takeoff. We can see that it is, and we are going to need anti-ice today. Anti-ice systems test, so left pitot heat powered by the triple fed bus, right pitot heat powered by the right generator bus. Ah, interesting. Right, let's try that then. We'll do the windshield heat to normal. Pitot heat's on. We're going to check the bus up here. So the triple feed is good. There's no drop there in power. Obviously the external power is connected, so we probably wouldn't notice it anyway, to be fair. The load meter observe increase. There has been an increase in the load on the triple feed and the feed in general. That's pretty quick to do, so let's get those back off. Pitot heat's off as well. Observe the increase, check. Pilot windshield heat switch off, then normal. So let's just try them on high again. Yeah, there's an increase there. I'll leave these on normal as it says. It might tell me to turn them off again. Pitot heats are off, anti-ice system checks complete. It wants me to leave the windshield heat on. It said turn them on, I don't know. It says turn them on and then turn them back onto normal, so we'll leave them off then. And wait. So before engines start, we've done the pre-flight inspection. Everything else was pretty much switched off when we got into the cockpit. Cabin door is locked, the baggage is minimal and secure. The weight and balance we have checked, we've got all our fuel on board, 2 pilots, and we're pretty much ready to start. Let's go ahead and get our lights on actually, let's get our navigation lights. It does actually work with my Honeycomb this, which is really quite nice as you'll see. So we are going to use that. I'm going to use the Honeycomb for the lights. Navigation lights can come on. Belts are fastened, control lock removed, parking brake is set. Engines start with ground power, so boost pumps are on. The avionics master is off. We probably don't need to do it today on the avionics. We're just going to use our heading mode today, which is that is kind of IFR, I guess. If you're going to be just following the heading, then we'll pick up any like VOR we'll get closer to Dundee. Avionics off, left and right generators are off. Let's go with the Yoke again. Generators are down here. Batteries on, voltmeter, external power between 22 and 30. External power on, prop controls feathered, right ignition. Right, let's go for a right engine start. So we can't open the windows. Clear prop. Right engine ignition is illuminated. Condition levers to low idle. Taking a while. Boost pumps are on. The engine hasn't started. Interesting. Right, so let's try that one more time. Let's go for a right engine again. So we'll wait for it again. It says here feather, then right ignition on, illuminated. I didn't see it illuminate, to be fair, and then we turn on the sort of low idle on the mixture there at 12%. Let's just get rid of the checklist while we do this engine start. Engine coming live. Low idle on the mixtures. I think we do have to move the prop fully forward when it gets to 50%. That is low idle. Prop fully forward. So it's not starting on there either, that's very odd. Usually I don't actually follow the checklist, to be fair, and I usually have no issues. I've just realised as well, I don't think it told us to turn the lights on. Yeah, there's no mention there about lights, but obviously we do need the beacon on for the lights. I'm going to get the tail flood today, and I'm going to get the recognition lights on early as well. Yeah, some items missing there. I think we may be better off just not going on that checklist for the start of the engines. We're obviously missing something here that's one of the reasons it won't start. So let's just check our instruments and our things. We may have a failure, who knows. God, look at the weather here at bloody Aberdeen Dyce. Brutal. Started to think maybe the fuel pumps are the issue. Let's get that on automatic on cross feed and see if that will help. Beacons on, the navs on, the recognition lights, the tail flood is on, so we're definitely lighting up like a Christmas tree. Right, ignition on, illuminated. One more try. Low idle, 13%. Seems to be getting to about 20 on the turbine and stopping. Come on, aircraft. I don't think this is going to start on the right side. Trying the fuel. Somebody tells me that the fuel pumps shouldn't really be on. I mean, it says on the checklist you can leave them. It says there leave them on, didn't it? Let's follow the X checklist. External power. We'll try with the X checklist and see if there's any different items here. So, leave this further. Right ignition engine starts. It's saying the same thing. Above 12% idle, low idle on the mixture, and then monitor the ITT. Fuel cut off. Same things on front engine checklist. So fuel quantity is checked. Firewall valves closed. Firewall valves are closed. Fuel crossfeed illuminated. Not illuminated actually. So now it's illuminated. Fuel boost pumps off. On. So we need the crossfeed off. The fuel pumps on. The firewall valves open. I think that's the item we're missing, isn't it, from the checklist? That's one we missed. Transfer pumps auto. This one's a bit better on the X checklist. Yeah, there's items there in that C90 checklist that are missing, and obviously I'm not a C90 pilot, so you would have to use the X checklist to get a more in-depth thing. Transfer pumps off. Safety panel, press to test. View down, check beacon on. Yeah, this is a bit better with a checklist, to be fair. Right, one more time. So we're going to go for a right engine start. Ignition's coming on. Every time we introduce the fuel to low idle. There we go. She's coming alive. Brilliant. So it must have been the firewall valves that we missed off the checklist. That's why it wouldn't start. We'll keep them in feathered mode, condition, leave low idle, monitor the ITT, so it's all good. I don't think we've had a hot start there. I'm going to repeat the steps there for the left engine as well. So left engine on. 51% ignition can come off. Left ignition on. Coming up pretty quickly on that one. Fuel to low idle. Rising. Blades are spinning. Keeping an eye on the ITT. Again, in the green zone there. Pretty much nowhere near a hot start. That's probably why we're keeping them feathered on the propellers. Much better though. Much better. We learned a lesson there. Good lesson. So external power, we can turn that off now. Let's go ahead and send those away. Turn the switch off first. Go and dismiss the GPU. External power extinguished. Right is reset and then on. Left reset and then on. And then right reset and on as well. We can check here what power we got. So 0 on the external. And we've got loads there, not on the left side. Let's try it one more time. So left. Right. Left generator tie open and right generator tie open remains extinguished. We can switch in reset position. So we're not getting a load here on the left engine. Sometimes it's good to turn them off. And then just do the process again. So right engine's picking it up, no problems. Okay, a little bit longer on there, and then the right one again. Probably because we've got the generator ties closed, I think, although they should be different position at this point. Propeller levers forward, let's go ahead and push those forward. Right as required on the condition levers. We'll leave them low until we get to takeoff. Let's try and figure out this load thing before we go. After start, transfer pumps automatic. Crossfeed is automatic. Boost pumps, crossfeed test. electrical system. Again, try it one more time on here. Sometimes you have to mess around with it. Most comfortable of ways to get it to work. Anyway, lights as required. We'll do the DC thing in a sec and get it sorted. Everybody, flight is already starting off pretty rough. Sierra Alpha, Sierra Delta here, having some startup issues with the pilot. A little unsure, to be fair, why it's not working. Let's get the headset on as well. There's a headset in here, so audio headset coming online. If it is too quiet, let me know. Very strange. I have had issues with the generators coming online before, but I have managed to get them started in the past. Just do the reset. So right, one more time, right on there. Right one goes out, and then left one. Left one doesn't go out. Anyone in chat want to chip in here and give me some hints and tips? More than welcome to. So I actually did it better last time when I didn't follow this checklist, didn't I? And I did it so much quicker. I guess that's a lesson we can all learn from the flight sim is sometimes if you do follow the checklist and you don't understand it, it can go wrong. But not only that, it does miss off quite a lot of items off of this one. I don't think this is real. I mean, it does say for simulated use, but there's many items here missed off, which are included on the extra list. Let's go for the extra list again. We'll see how it gives us. So after start, generator ties. Again, that's missing off that other one, so we'll open them. Generator tie illuminated. Let's do this one instead. Vaults in the center. Read, generatize, manual close. The right generators still illuminated on the left hand side. I really have no idea at this point. I keep resetting it and doing it, but nothing's coming through on it. Let's sense switch, let's test that. Left and right generate ties open, battery tie open. Let's get our EFIS power backup system online. Ignition there can come off. That may be what we were doing wrong because we didn't turn it off. Yeah, so it's come online now. So it looks like we just forgot to turn the ignition off. So again, just basic mistakes, but I guess we can all learn with me. We can see what I'm doing wrong and what needs to be done right in order to do it, to get it to work. That again, that's an item which usually I would get right, but today it's just going a little bit off. I think we might have finally done it though, and now the right side, of course. Inverters and avionics. Transponders, we'll work a random squawk code to try and give ourselves an IFR appearance. We can only go to, we'll keep on the standby then until takeoff. I think there's power on the right side, but now it seems to have dropped to 0 again. Pitch trim, left generator tie open. Battery tie open. Taxi nav lights. Nav lights are on, we'll get the taxi lights on. We don't need the no smoking thing on today. Instrument vacuum pressure is on the co-pilot side, that is checked. Everything there. Still wet, raining a lot here. Instruments checks. First power is on, rudder boost. Right down here. Elevator trim. So all the systems coming alive. Transponder is as required. We check the elevator trim. It is fully functional. Flap lever. Fall down. Let's just give it a quick check of the engine. So you can see that I'm taking my time today because I want to make sure this flight is well prepared for the journey. Because let's face it, this is going to be a challenging approach. Plus, we're waiting for the tide to go down at Barra Beach in a way. I think by now it probably has got a little bit to the low side, so we'll have to get going. Dundee first stop. Left and right fuel boosts coming off. Left fuel boost on. Yeah, I'm not going to do that test again. Fuel bombs on. Just tells you to turn them off to do the crossfeed check and things like that. Flaps, so confirm fully down. Let's pull them back up again. First flight of the day. Valves open. Cabin altitude select and knob. We only need 9,000 feet, so we probably don't even need to pressurise ourselves. We'll just leave it at 0. Ignition levers. Right, we're just going to get taxiing. I think it's going to take too long to do the full thing. Correct on the controls. Manual feathering, check low idle. Check this then. We've got a little bit of an issue going on with the controls today. One just went out of beta. Yeah, it seems to be in beta mode. Manual feathering, we check the left side again. So the left side is fine. I see what it's doing. It's putting it in alpha for the base for the feather test. Instruments checked, avionics, EFB secured air, bleed air valves open, instruments sort of feather check. Let's do what's in feather on. Alarm that. It's taxi. So we're going to be taxiing off in the direction of the wind, and I'm going to get the wind open for you guys to see. So wind is pushing towards the west. We are going to be flying to the south here to Dundee from Aberdeen Dyce, so we'll be taking off in that direction. Probably take off in the main. There's only one runway here really where this plane can take off from. So if we look at the map, as you see here, it's runway 16, and that is usually the most suitable one for it. So it's a really familiar sort of taxi route for us if you've seen the channel before. So it's Echo and then down to 16. Right, let's get going. We're just about ready to get going, I think. Everything else is where it needs to be. It is saying the left generator ties are open, battery ties are open, things up there. Maybe they will extinguish on the flight, or maybe we have to close these again. Reset that, perhaps. Yes, so there it is. Right, parking brake released. Let's get ourselves in beta. Brake check is good. 122.8. Squawk mode Charlie. We haven't got any ATC. I don't think we've got any airplanes in the area either. I think obviously this time of day in this kind of weather it's probably going to be Edinburgh that's busy, isn't it? Just realised down here at Dundee it's saying there's a Perth VUR. We could go to Perth VUR as a waypoint, and then again it's got a Dundee NDB. We are going to be using the NDB to Barra Beach, which is very, very cool. Initial course will be 212. I've got that pre-assigned, pre-written down, so we'll set the course to 212. It's almost set at 212 already. Aberdeen Dyce traffic, Golf Sierra Alpha Sierra Delta, taxi to runway 16 via taxiway Echo. Cross runway 23. I did manage to catch Golf Sierra Alpha Sierra Delta. This actual aircraft was flying from Manchester to Aberdeen Dyce not long ago for real. So I was fortunate enough to catch it on the radar. If anybody uses it, it's called Flight Radar, completely free. You can track flights, you can track your favourite planes on it, you can track your favourite airlines, etc. Yes, I saw it, and it obviously was flying a route from Manchester to Aberdeen Dyce, and that's why I've come back in it. We've been contracted out to Gamma again. It has taken a while, guys, so I appreciate everybody bearing with me on the startup here while we sorted a few issues, but at least we can work through these. As I say, we're learning through this together, and we're trying to understand the plane a little bit more as we fly it. Bit over the hold. We're going to slam these brakes, parking brake on, and we're going to do the pre-light takeoff checklist. So we have a it says line up, but what we're going to do is we're going to do it here instead. So auto ignition we're going to stick onto arm. The anti-ice is going to remain on, I think, because it's going to be pretty rough conditions. It's 4 degrees, we are expecting ice. Let's get the windows on normal. Store warning, so all the anti-ice can come on at this point. Could probably put prop ice on, but I'm going to wait a little bit on the prop and just wait until we're in the air. To be fair, I'm going to keep the anti-ice off the engines to give us that performance we need on takeoff. Auto feather is armed. Lights. Let's go ahead and stick the landing lights on, and we'll put the taxi lights off. Strobe lights are coming on. Recognition tail flood lights are on. And that's it on the checklist for the there. Then it's just the gear up. Landing tail lights off, and then we set 1900 on the climb power for the propeller. When we climb, so that's fully forward. Prop sync will be on in the air. Windshield heat will be on. We've already got it on here. Engine instruments, yaw damper is required, so we stick that on as well when we're in the air. Okay, guys, I think we are about ready to get going. Go ahead and put our mixtures fully forward. Transponder to altitude. Just test that briefly, and it's at 9,000 feet. Cruise altitude. The flight director is somewhere down here, so we can actually test it. So if we press the test button on this now, it will, or it should cause it to test. I can't see anything happening on it. Flight director will probably come on when we're using the autopilot. So heavy mode is pre-selected. And altitude pre-select as well. So we can do down here altitude select and Heading. I don't think we can do both at once for the altitude select. I can at my Honeycomb, so I guess we'll just select it there, and then it should connect automatically. We can also change this to see the wind direction of things, which I'm going to leave on. So no wind data until we get in the air. The wind is in fact within our limits. Let's say it's within 10 to 15 knots, which is kind of ideal. Target brake release. Don't need any flaps for departure. Aberdeen Dyce traffic. Golf Sierra Alpha Sierra Delta departing runway 16 to the south. Course is set to 212. That's the course to Dundee Airport. It's runway 18. Don't confuse it with 18, guys. I've done that before. Straight up climb to 9,000 feet. I'm hoping the wind data will get picked up. Let's backtrack runway 16. There it is, flight director. That's the switch I was looking for. So now flight director's come online. If I press the J button, yeah, so it's changing to that pitch we need for the go-around, which is basically a good pitch to use for takeoff and for climbs. So we'll use that, and I've estimated about 9 minutes here to get to 9,000 feet, although it could be a lot quicker. Cruise speed, I put 220, but I didn't realise how slow this was when I filed my flight plan. I think I was better off putting 180, which is what I initially thought of. Okay, runway's established. We're just going to hold the brakes to set. We're going to get the engine idle and switch out of beta into the Alpha. Alpha mode, props fully forward, mixture's rich, landing lights are on. Cabin temperatures are secure, everything's on there. Let's get the co-pilot air on and the cabin piece to pilot air, and we don't need defrost. Let's go. Keep our torque within limits. Just veering off the runway a little bit there. The aircraft feels a little bit heavier than it should. Positive brake, gear coming up. There she goes, everybody. The after takeoff shot list, we got the yaw damper on. I'm going to keep it on the heading mode now, 212, and fly this thing up to 9,000 feet, I think. There's the wind we're looking for, so it's going to be a bit of a crosswind here. We're about 22 knots until we get to Dundee, and then hopefully it'll change. I'm praying it's still going to be VFR conditions at Barra Beach. Again, we'll wait and see what happens. I'm going to get heading mode and get course, and then we'll stick the autopilot on. Altitude select. Autopilot engaged. Very smooth transition there. Prop sync is on. Lights, text lights are off. 190 ice and prop eyes coming on. Windshield heat is on as required. Props 19 and 100. I think we can reduce them in the King Air 350, but the C90 seems to want to prop fully forward all the way up to the cruise, which is a little bit different than obviously the bigger 350. So we're going to continue climbing about this speed. When we get there, we're going to set a lower RPM there on the prop, so we'll set maybe 1700 as required. The engine instruments to the green. Pressurization is, again, we don't need it at 9,000 feet. We could do if we wanted to, though. Autofocus will pop off in the cruise, and then we'll check the fuel level. rough weather for a mission to Barra Beach, I'm not going to lie. So one of the things things I forgot to do then from Papa Delta is they actually have special departure here at Aberdeen Dyce, which is very, very cool. So if you go into Orla, you will have a entry-exit lanes. I have used this before, and it's very, very useful for VFR flying, but I'm IFR today, but I guess we could still use it. And these will give you the exit lanes from the airport to various places. So because we're going south, we've departed from runway 16, which is here, which means we could have gone down to the Stonehaven Lane departure. So we could have exited via Stonehaven Lane. I have exited via this one before here, when I was going to Inverness. That's why it's called the Inverness Lane. And you can see these flight routes here, which people are meant to fly to get in and out of the area. So on departure, if we had have flown this, we would have gone left on takeoff and followed this dotted light arrow line all the way down to the NDB, it looks like, and then all the way down to Stonehaven, along the coast basically to the wind farms. So yeah, very useful if you're flying out of Papa Delta, and I really recommend using this in VFR flying. Highly recommend it. Chart wise, we're going to get Papa Romeo, Papa Lima, is it? For no, Ben Becula. So this is our alternate airport. We'll leave that till we need it for Barra Beach. Coming up at 9,000 feet, let's just lower our sun rate. Torgue's in the green still. We did have a torgue loss there when we put the anti-ice on. It's like the whole of Scotland is covered in quite severe weather, mostly just clouds and rain thankfully, and the only ATC is indeed at Edinburgh Airport. I can see ourselves on the map here as we go down to Dundee and then Barrow, we're tracking the NDB there, then I'll have to tune that in, so I'm just checking the sky vectors. We went through this before departure, so you guys should be aware of the plan. So the Barra Beach NDB is 316. Tune that in, so 316 and NDB. We'll leave that there on the active. We're about 9,000 feet. We can reduce the props now at 9,000 feet, so bring the bed to 1,700. Probably want to turn the auto further off first. So further coming off. 1,700, that's fine, we'll leave the mixtures where they are. So it's going to be interesting, is this going to burn 280 kg an hour, and how much fuel are we actually going to have left from the 600 that we required for the flight? We needed 280 for the actual hours flying, and then the rest of it is just reserves, and it seems to distribute itself now that transfers on into the nacelles, which is quite good. Check the weight and balance. You can see we are burning through the fuel there as required. It seems to have increased in the nacelles. I think that may be a glitch. So we put around 300 in the wing. Yeah, very strange. The weight's distributed itself now throughout the plane, which is great. Thrust is set. The propellers are 1700. T's and P's are green. Got the ADF tracker here on the left hand side, so we'll be able to use that on the way to Barra. This one though, if we can get it on, we may be able to follow a thing for Dundee. Very far to go, so again we've got an NDB there, but nothing else. It's given us a QNH 983 and runway 09 for arrival. So we'll plan for runway 09. Not got any ice on at the moment, thankfully. The windshield's just building up a little bit, so ILS, we may have to put the ILS for Dundee, so let's do that. 108. So 1 and less than 1.9. This is a bit of a pain when there's turbulence. The plane really shakes about a lot. I don't know if you can see it. It is brutal. Oh yeah, there's icing. I don't think there's actually any icing warnings for the area, but of course we're flying through them cold conditions, so the ice will be building up. You can see it building up on the wing as well, so we need to do a surface de-ice here. You see it melt up. Very useful. I'm going to keep our recognition lights on when we get lower down. It's pretty low visibility at the moment. I think we're going to have strobes off in these conditions as well. G-loaded camera is way too strong. 1010 for the ILS. Should be picking up on it on the frequency. So 983 on the Q&A. I appreciate I explained I did that, but it does make it impossible to fly at times. I'm surprised I did so well with it in the past. I hope when we get to Barra it's a low tide. I want to be able to do this landing. If not, again, Ben Bixley is the alternative, but I don't really want to go there. I really want to get this landing done regardless of how bad it is, to be honest, but we have got to do it safe and proper. There's a thing online called Surf. You can use a few different things. There's Tide Times UK, which is, excuse me, ignore that. Surf forecast and things like that for Barra Beach. You've got tide charts. So at the moment we're currently 4 o'clock with the low, and then the high will be about 11:30. So the tide is rising again, so we have got to get there fairly quickly. So we're going to get on with the flight and get descending now down to Dundee. It's going to be a quick stop. So what we're going to do is land at Dundee, and I'm going to just do taxi round to the active again. And that's literally all we're doing. 2,000 feet. That's for the airports, the approach. That's 119. Let's say there's DME there, 108 decimal 1, but there's nothing popping up an X-Wing 12 map. It looks like we need about 2,200 feet. So we're going to descend initially to 3,000 as required, and then we'll do. I think this is for a procedure turn here, but we'll just ignore that. Go down to 3,000 and circle round as required. 092 is the course. It's important. So 092 looks like it'll be a left on turn. Dundee 394. We could tune that in, I guess, but I can't be bothered. We've got enough information here to do this. Maximum 210, that's fine for this aircraft. We are losing performance again because that ice build up. Wings are completely ice over. Yeah, so you can tell the speed drops and we're not getting that performance because the ice is impacting our aircraft significantly. Let's descend down now, 3,000 feet. Just like to hold back a little bit. We'll do an altitude select. Okay, we'll leave the chart up open as a reference. All I'm going to be coming in from the north, so what we'll do is we'll fly outwards, of course, then we'll come inbound 0902 directly to the ILS. Let's get the checklist back up. Charts. Just set pressurization set altitude to 983. We'll keep using X-Plane 12 map because there's no ATCs to guide us, so say 983 still. Just track a little bit outbound here. 210 for the procedures. Approach, we're going to be landing with full flight, full flaps, so we get the recognition lights back on. Windshield heat is normal, but not going to do with that high. Before landing, so we're landing gear down at 182, water fuffing will be armed. Turn the landing lights on, the yaw damper will come off, the props will go fully forward. Keep that in mind, everybody, and then again we're going to take around the actual things. They did say this was an easy job. They are paying me very well. But every time I fly up in Scotland, I do feel like flying this plane is a bit of a death wish with that amount of ice that goes up in it. I really do. Okay, we're about 6,000, descending through nicely. We should be opposite or heading in the general opposite direction to 09, and then of course we'll be circling back in, so parallel to the runway, and then turning left into course of flying. Lights coming on. New traffic, LCR Delta inbound, now descending 2,000 feet, they are less than runway 09. Getting a good descent rate out of her today. She's doing very well. Engine's sounding pretty normal still. Visually, the ice is building up. It's just in the areas that are not protected, which is going to cause an impact to the lift and speed. In a way, it will, but it won't be detrimental. Let's get these anti-ice on the windows to high. Hopefully, we can melt some of this off this windshield. So we want to do a surface de-ice. The flaps, I've got to just assume there may not be ice building up there, but there could also be ice build up there as well. This should also be showing the RLS. Let's check we've actually got the right frequency here. Sometimes X-Plane is different to the charts. So as you can see, it's giving us the right distance. 3,500 feet. Let's keep descending now to 2,000 feet. Slow our descent rate. Oh good, we can see land at least. I always feel so much better when I fly these planes in bad conditions. Then you get land, it's like a miracle, isn't it? It's like, wow, look at that, I've never seen land before. Cool, so I'm going to keep the anti-ice on for now. It's still very, very cold outside. Let's get the anti-ice on, it goes back to normal. Everything will stay on, we'll leave the engine anti-ice on. Landing lights are on, the flaps, let's go for slower speed here. We'll not drop a notch as we turn onto intercept the ILS. We should be inbound now for the runway. Coming in from this sort of direction. Doing our circle round. select it down here. We can select like navigation. Let's see what happens. Let's select nav and try and intercept it. We'll cheat a little bit and use the map. As you can see there, we should be intercepting it soon. There it is. So we've intercepted the ILS. One notch of flaps. Speed right down. Okay, props fully forward. 1, 2 further arms. The rest of the checklist is that we need to be on a course of 092. The aircraft should be adjusting to course in a second now. So 1, 2 feathers on, you're the will turn that off. Feet. Speed is dropping nicely. I need a quick key here for the yaw damper, it's going to make it so much easier. Come on aircraft, turn to the left. We are intercepting it, but we're not turning onto it. The course and navigation is selected. Maybe just waiting for it to get a bit closer before it does it. 092. Look at this map, we've not intercepted the localizer in terms of horizontal movement, but we've intercepted it being close enough to find it. Anyway, let's get our gear down and we'll go full flaps. Nice and early. Let's just get the yaw damper off now, I can't be bothered to wait. Done turn plane in a second now. There it is. We're not quite on the, we are technically coming onto the glide slope here with this green arrow, so I'm going to arm the approach mode. Let the aircraft stabilise itself and then we'll take control to land this thing. Sierra out, Sierra Delta established ILS for my 09, 5 nautical mile final. Going very, very slow, the plane is handling it quite well. At this lower speed, we should be on the glide slope in about 3, 2, 1. Got a little bit visual out there, some houses, but I can't see much else. As a glide slope, let's reduce our power a bit more. When I get runway, line of the runway and we get a bit more sight, I can just about see it, but when we get a bit more clear view of it with the lights there, I'll take control. We'll maintain the speed where it is. I think we may have a performance thing. We're landing on here somewhere. I don't know what the recommended speed is. It is above 100 for the landing, but not much above 100. We've got 19, 20 knot headwinds. The wind has picked up considerably. You can see it down here on the instruments. 19 miles per hour, or 19 knots, excuse me. A bit more, wait till 1,000 feet. Can set minimums on the 350. I'm not sure about this one. There may be an option for the decision height somewhere here. I probably have used it before, but I just can't remember where it is. It will pop up with the height warnings. Anyway, 2 nautical miles out. We're kind of established, so let's get the autopilot off. I have control now to land this thing at Dundee. bit sluggish on the controls. I still need to adjust the sensitivity. Not headwind, blimey. Did not think we would be doing this mission today. Hold it steady. Okay, we're down. Turn to the reverse mode. Beta mode. Oh, welcome to Dundee, everybody. I have departed from this airport before. It's a great little airport right on the edge of the water. I actually flew from this airport to Barra Beach, back in the Beechcraft Baron months and months ago. I think it was last year, if anyone wants to check that out. Great flight. Great flight. Right, successful landing. We're just going to do a quick stop here and do some quick changeover. Let's take the taxiway. Strobe lights coming off, taxi lights on, landing lights off. Auto ignition's off. Engine anti-ice is on. Flaps are coming up. Let's just crack the fuel vent, pitos and store one in heat off. What if they ever can come off the taxi? Anti-ice is off, the lights is required, prop sync coming off, electrical load. Looks like we sorted out the electrical side and the generators and the engines. The aircraft's handling the weather pretty well. Flaps up, trim set to free set. We'll just set it at 0. So we're not doing shutdown, let's taxi back. As I say, I've been here before in the Beechcraft Baron, did a flight here to Barra Beach. That was a good flight. So if today we can do it in the C90, I'd say achievement unlocked. Not only that, but we do have a mission out there. If we have to divert to Benbecula, then the people who are expecting these supplies would just have to pick them up from there. It's as simple as that. If it's too dangerous, we can't do it. There was VFR conditions on the departure from Aberdeen Dyce. At the moment, conditions are deteriorating, we can see that visually. But it's still saying VFR conditions at Barra Beach, which is absolutely astonishing if you think about it. But the tide is rising, so that's the main thing we ought to be concerned about. What we actually need to do is turn around, that's what I'm doing. So when I departed here to Barra in my Beechcraft Baron flight, it was parked over there with those fuel pumps. As you can see, they've got quite a nice GA parking space over there with some Barons already in it. We've also got some little aviation, smaller commercial aviation planes here. So Dundee is, for me, it is a peak airport. It has a good mixture of GA and these smaller commercial airliners. There would probably be some turboprops here in real life, and this would be a proper route to Barra Beach as well, so they'd have turboprops here like the King Air. They'd have maybe some privately owned PC-12s or something. Of course, those smaller CRJs, ERJs might be here. The smaller Vision Jets, although I've never seen this many Vision Jets at an airport in real life. There's a King Air at the background. I think is that Gamma Aviation over there. Blimey. West Hangar, that looks awfully like Gamma Aviation. Plus we've got another refueling point, which is brilliant. So we could, if we need to, refuel. wipers are still in good condition. We need those on. Now we'll turn those off. Got the emergency night lights on for some reason. Make much of a difference. They're all bright. Anyway, right. We're going to do a backtrack now. Runway 09. It's 19 knots on the wind. This is considerable, and then we're going to track outbound on the course. I've got it written down of initially to 286. Let's turn that to the right heading, 286. And then when we pick up the NDB, we're going to follow the NDB to Barra. Strobe lights coming on. Transponders still on altitude mode. Auto further armed. Anti-ice in the engines will remain on. We'll get the pitos and stall warning and fuel vents. Tail recognition lights are on. Dundee traffic going Sierra Delta, backtracking runway 09, a departure to the northwest. We're only going to set one notch of flaps for this takeoff. Trim is neutralised, the packs are still on, the electrical load is fine. No incoming traffic that I can see. One short final released. Small turnaround spot there as well. Maybe that's a little run-up area or something. That's pretty cool. Look at that, thunder lighting. Go see out Sierra Delta. As much as I love this plane in the add-on, the Freeware Evo mod really enhances it. Overall, it's very, very difficult airplane to fly, and yeah, I would say the King Airs in general are very hard to fly because for me, they've got a response that is very slow and sluggish compared to other twin pistons that have flown and twin turboprops. In general, the handling is very sluggish, and you'll notice you'll need more input, especially on final and at slower speeds, in order to keep the ailerons level and to keep the aircraft on course. Runway 09 established, and flaps set. Flight controls, as you can see, I've been checking them, are free and correct. Anti-ice is on. Stall 1 in heat is on. 2 further is armed. Auto ignition coming on. So when we get in the air, we'll follow the turn right to the course, and then we will turn the prop sync and the yaw damper on. Altitude 9,000 feet. Let's get going. Okay, we're on the way. We have transition 3,000 feet, set standard pressure. 013. The prop sync is on, your damper's on. You can do this checklist again. Fixed lights, landing lights off. Pressurization isn't required, your damper is on, so next. Take the auto feather off in cruise, check the fuel, and we'll do this at 1700 on the props again. Right, we're on the way now to Barra Beach, final flight of the day. If we can't land there, we'll circle overhead, see what conditions are, and then if we can't, we'll continue then back to NDB's tuned in, 316, you can check this on the airport as well, so Papa Romeo, Barra Beach is not coming up with anything useful there. Let's get the aerodrome chart. The NDB 316. Again, we'll wait to pick it up. It looks like we may be picking it up. But again, we'll wait to see what happens. Wind-wise, if it's moving westwards, we probably want runway 25 or runway 0, maybe 07 if we want to land into the wind. 3-3 if we want the length, I guess 3-3. The wind here, I don't think it's going to make too much of a difference to the landing, if I'm honest. Ignition lights off, tail flood lights off. Weather. So yeah, same VFR when we get there. As you can see, the clouds are still going to be in the area. Whoa, look at that. Edinburgh's packed. Maybe we should have flown there. Either way, we're going to avoid the major traffic today. We've pretty good approach, I think. I mean, that was also a pilot, to be fair, but still pretty good. I conclude, well, I think the landing was pretty decent too. 1,000 feet to go. Let's slower our ascent rate here and try and climb. Slower to build our speed. Let's reduce the torque a little bit. When we turn the auto feather off, you know I'm going to do it now because I don't trust it. We'll usually get an improvement there in the torque, as you can see. I'm not sure if Benbecula has an actual VFR at it. I guess we could check. Oh, it says here, I forgot about this. One of the things at Barra is they do actually have approaches. And I have done one of these before. I believe the approach I did in Barra was it was an RMP. It was one of those. Yeah, it was an RMP. It must have been because that's the only one coming up. But it was a very, very good approach anyway. Very easy to follow. So let's check out Benbecula's status. 5,000 feet to stabilise, let's reduce the props down. 1700. We'll reduce the torque just a tiny bit. We've got a tailwind today about 30 knots, right. Aerodrome chart. So this is the alternative. It is pretty small as well, similar to Barra Beach, but again perfectly acceptable for our purposes. So we have a Benbecula VOR of 11395. And an NDB of 404. This is useful information. I think that's... Yeah, we've got 1081 there, so we've got two versions. There's obviously different kind of approaches at this airport. We've got Benbecula and then Benbecula here too. 395. We'll keep that in mind, we'll keep that chart there in case we need it. I'm going to keep Barra 1 open at the moment, which in keep our bearings on the airport. There's that ice build-up again. Let's take the defrost on and see if that makes a difference to the other side. I swear I can see those flaps moving. Can't even see the wing now, blimey. Yeah, I swear I can see the flap moving around a little bit. We do have a light here for ice somewhere. Icy light, maybe anti-ice. Hi, boy, you can use it to check the wings if you can't see it at night. Very, very useful. Just to make me feel a bit off that. This is like dizziness. So there it is, ice light. You can just about see the illumination. It is on both sides of the wings, which is very, very useful. These are green, fuel flow is good. If we reduce the mixtures on this thing, it doesn't tend to make any difference to the fuel flow in the engines. The only thing it's doing is increasing the amount of torque we've got, so maybe it is affecting it. Alright guys, I'm just going to step away. I trust you not to crash the aircraft. Please take care of it while I'm away. I just want to get a quick drink. Be back in a minute. Hello everybody, I am back. 1 hour's flight time in total. If I'd factored in this weather conditions, we could have said 2 hours altogether. 2 hours is more realistic, plus all the start-up time and ground time. We had some issues before, and if you are wondering what those issues were, they weren't deliberate, by the way, they were genuine things that I was struggling with. And if you go back and watch it, if you were also struggling with this aircraft, you see our own mistakes and learn from them. Learn from my mistakes as well, was more important. So, Sky Vectors, if you recall, we had a initial route 53 nautical miles, and then 286 is the course to Barra, and that's 150 nautical miles. It's not very far at all. Half an hour at the most. This thing, I would love to get a distance here on the NDB, but it's just not possible. It's not possible to get it. This is for the VOR mostly. Tracker, like DB distance, etc. Okay, defrost ice is on, but the windows are actually getting worse without the defrost air on. It's strange, isn't it? Look at that, it seems to be considerably worse. I wonder if we can change altitude. It's -7 here. There's a little bit of hope coming up, there's a glimmer of hope. Open Tower. There's so many little airports here as well in this particular part of Scotland, which my initial plan wasn't to go to Dundee, but I like Dundee Airport. My initial plan was actually to go over here to not Perth. There's another airport around here that's very, very good very, very small airports as well. And then again, on the east, we have those small airports. Unrecognisable. Not unrecognisable, but mostly unused. Like these little ones, you've got all these little islands which need servicing. And look at that, for goodness sake. Who's getting in and out of that? Isle of Skye, Broadford, Flockton. I don't think, I'll be honest, I don't think X-Plane models a lot of these places that I've seen on the map. Can't see over here near Dundee, there's another airport which I had in mind. Just check the Sky Vectors map, see what it says on there. Tower. I guess it was Oban then, maybe Oban Tower I was thinking of. That's the smaller airport. You've got Oban, you've got Tyree, Cole. They're two cool little airports and islands. You have some a little bit further up north. Even further than Temecula, we've got Stornoway. Hidden away in an island, again tiny little place, but cool out. You can't see a thing. We may be better off now going down. I'm going to just send everybody to 6,000 feet just to be on the safe side. I want to crash the planes. Let's take the virtual speed mode on. Reduce our power a little bit. Otherwise, we're going to be freezing over constantly. I don't think the ice can cope with this kind of weather. If we look on the map, it is mostly just clouds. It's just clouds of ice and snow, and that's it. There's nothing. You know, there's obviously a few thunderstorms there, Dundee and other places, but in general, it's just the ice we have to be concerned. Going back to the METAR, I keep checking it, it's still saying it's VFR at Barra Beach. Tyree's minimum VFR, then Beckler's VFR. It's mostly the east of Scotland. Glasgow, Edinburgh, you know, Dundee, Aberdeen, they're all minimum VFR at the moment. I'd say IFR conditions, we've got zero visibility, even at Dundee, it was pretty much zero conditions down to 2,000 feet. Drysdale Shoot, Broadford, Flockton, we've talked about Flockton, we've got so many options there for alternatives. We've even got a helipad way out called Herta Heliport, which is way in the middle of a small island. Excuse the pronunciation, it's spelled H-I-O-R-T, so maybe Hyor or something. A little airport there and a heliport, so maybe for, I don't know, whoever lives out there. It's crazy. Absolutely crazy. Right, pray to God it's minimum. The tide conditions, I know you can't see it. Tides at Barra Beach are currently on the rise. Hour most before we have to land. 3,000 feet to go. Getting a little bit more speed now, a little bit more performance. We're not transferring any patients. Only a baggage and cargo supply today. In the aircraft until next time. I think Gamma probably realises by now that they really have got to plan these patient transfers really to the eye because of the conditions, you can't transfer it in this kind of weather, so we have to wait until it's a bit clearer, maybe be apart a little bit sunny. Although I have seen Sierra Delta flying in this recent weather lately, so it's obviously still flying on these routes despite these challenges. And I think it's actually, it might be a King Air 200 they have, not a C90. I can appreciate the realism. Right, we haven't leveled off. We haven't done altitude pre-select, so let's go down to 5,000 instead. See the wings now. Okay, we are coming in out of that now the really rough patch because they see absolutely nothing. There's Livery. Oh, we're picking up the NDB. We're not picking it up yet. Maybe within 15 nautical miles we'll get traffic. 5,000 feet. Bring our crops back a bit more, maybe to 1650. An automatic on the heat. Right, it's not as hard as it could be. Automatic, that'll be fine. Nothing else there needs switching on. Fuel levels, how are we doing? So it's evenly distributed now between the tanks and the nacelles. Looks like we've got the exact same amount, or a little bit below in the nacelles than we have in the main tanks. Pronunciations, we considered that, NCIS is still functional. Jesus. Godspeed, we're going to be struggling to get to the Barra in this condition. I really pray to God it is VFR. As I say though, X-Plane 12 does have issues with live with it. It says it is, and I have usually taken its word, but the reality is it isn't. And when it's snowing, covered in snows on mountains for example, it won't be covered in snow in game unless it's snowing. And also the weather just generally isn't exactly correct for the live world we're getting off places like the METAR and the windy, and even if you go onto something like VATSIM radar, you can actually have a weather overlay, which is what I use to see the weather. So X-Plane 12, you know, let's just say it's not always accurate. Send down to 3,000 feet. Should get it off of this map to make it a little bit easier. I thought we can see the airport on the map right now. It's hidden somewhere in these clouds. I we can get it off the QNH off here, so I can pump the room here. Airports. Weather information available, fantastic. In that case then I'll use the METAR weather that I'm using at the moment. Right, now the METAR has changed, so now METAR is now minimum VFR for Barra Beach. Great, I have been updating it, it has only just changed literally this moment, so obviously the weather's not moving in the direction I thought it was. It seems to be, I thought it was initially moving west, because of the wind, and it is, but it is almost circling back over Scotland. Castle Bay is completely covered over as well. Which is 983, so still 983. lost on this mission. This mission is detrimentally bad. Prayers and wishes now for Grantham. This is why we don't usually rent ourselves out to private companies, because we get into dangerous situations like this. This is why we always float for our own. I think I'm going to try for runway 33 regardless of the tide. So runway 15 will be our landing, just because it's the longest route. It is thin, and I have landed on runway 25 before in the Barra, but I want to be super sure that I'm doing this correctly. Meaning that we've got enough room here to stop in time, especially if the tide's coming in. We're going to do a flyover, check the conditions. If we can't see anything, we'll continue on to the timing exit to go back. Sending out 3,000. Okay, we have land. Brilliant. This is kind of what I was hoping for. 3,500 feet to come down. Minimum VFR, so we should be able to see something. I'm going to fly nice and low here next to the train. Keep an eye on it. Figure out where my views are. Dangerously close here, but I want to be on the safe side and have vision of it rather than avoid it. Keep our torque in the green, going to the red. 2,000 feet, let's look off. One shot of the manual de-ice. Oh wow, look at that. That's stunning. Landscapes. It doesn't, I mean, granted, Clean 12 base game is not great visually, but actually, it might not be great visually, but it is still pretty good. We've got something down there, looks like a heliport perhaps, maybe a heliport or a town. So we've got some ships there. Either way, there's signs of life, that's always good. Guess that could be a backup plan. There's nothing visually on the maps, we can't see any airports. Barra Beach, right, we're inbound to land now, everybody. So now we're going to get a little bit more serious. We've got visual at best. We're going to remain visual to the runway. We'll start preparing now for a land. So let's bring our speed down. We'll slow down below 200 knots. Again, nothing on the NDB. This could be faulty. Could just be faulty, not working. 316, student ADF, see if it comes alive. So say it is actually saying 07 for landing, and that would be better for the wind. Comes to 1700. recognition lights coming on. It's warmed up a little bit. It's 1 degree now. We probably can turn the anti-ice off the engines. And we'll keep all the anti-ice on the props. Props off. Maybe just the pitot and the fuel vent ice on at the moment, unless we encounter some clouds. There should be a weather radar on this. I can't remember if it's integrated or not. There should be by now. They should be able to integrate it onto the map. There's Benbeck for the roll alternative. And somewhere in between there, the unofficial Barra Beach. King Gas C90 should be good enough, and should be suitable enough for the runway if they can land, you know, those bigger turboprops here. Then the C90 should be capable of doing it. If the Beechcraft Barra can do it, I'm confident this one can as well. It's about the same speed as the Barra. We're below 200 knots. I'll maintain this. Let's set our course for 07 for the runway, just in case we are going to be making a landing. Switching our transponder is on. Should have an ELT in here somewhere, the emergency location thing, in case we do crash, but we are embarrassed, so there'll be people there anyway, but just in case we get emergency services. We probably will anyway. They send the NTSB run if we crash. Aviation is checked. Let's pop our landing lights on. They probably won't be visual until we landing gear down. How do we have to go? Still got 40 nautical miles, blind. And of course, there it is. I knew it's too good to be true. Oh well, back with the anti-ice. Zero 20 knots, so we still got that 20 knot headwind if we are landing. Rain and overcast. Overcast 1,000 feet. Okay, that's not good. That's not good at all. So, overcast 1,000 feet means we're probably not going to see anything until we get down dangerously low. And I'm pretty sure in the area of course, we have got terrain in the area, so we've got plenty of considerations there. All this high terrain on the approach to 07 means you probably can't come down lower than 1,000 feet. If we come in on runway 25, which will be a 20 knot tailwind, even though that's not going to be the right runway for the wind, it will be better for the terrain. So we can fly low over the beach on runway 25. I'll probably get visibility below 1,000 feet. Or we could just do the obvious thing at this point and continue on to bed back from. track outbound, picking up with the NDB. We're going to be flying with it about 9 o'clock. And that should put us on the base leg then for runway 25. I know that was opportunity, that's we're going to go to the overfly. Assess the area, you can already see visually here, even at 3,000 we're struggling. I don't want to risk it today, so if we can't see anything by 1,000 feet, we'll go to perpendicular. That's the point I'll say no return is 1,000 feet. We can dip a little bit below it, maybe 800. But again, I don't want to take too many chances. I already had one crash here last year, which was quite bad. Okay, there's the NDB. The NDB's picking up now, and we want to turn that one off. That was guidance. NDB's in that direction for the airport. Let's descend down to 2,000 feet. Altitude mode on. Success, I can see it, I can see the island. Okay, right, we need to clear these windshields up. They seem to be completely smudged over at the moment, so... Boom. Return crossing off on, is it London? Yeah, so after London. Before London... What's it when it comes off? Oh, what if I was armed before London? That's strange, it tells you to arm it before London, so we'll do that, but then it tells you to turn it off after, proxying off after London, right. After London it is. We're about to overfly Barra. Moment of truth for everybody. Visually, we're not going to have any visual lights, because it's, it's a beach. They could do with putting some lights out there, to be fair. Make it a little bit easier, as you can see here. Something there to visualise where the runway is. If the tide is in, which is also probable because of the tide will be rising at this time, then of course we have no chance of landing. We could try it, but if it's a low tide, which it is today, it's a special tide today, it doesn't get too high or too low. Which means the peak will never be too high today. Even when it is. It's not impossible to see the landing lights because there's recognition lights are on, so we turn them off. I'll just show you this. Pretty useful. It must be tied into the landing gear then, the nose lights are the landing lights. The recognition are just the wings, tail forwards arms, so we do before landing checks just for the circle overhead. Keep an eye out for the beach. I think we're safe to actually do this, to try and attempt it. So let's drop down to, if we can, 1,500 feet. Right, there's no option there, we'll maintain 2,000. And if we need to, we'll hand fly it. There's the NDB. there it is, everybody. There's Barra Beach. There is some land there. As you can see there, the tide is coming in. But the beach is actually visible. So you've got visibility there, the landing space. There is water over it, but that's normal for the beach, of course. It's usually like that, to be fair, even though when the tide isn't in. It is moving inwards, and it is getting to the danger zone, but I think that's doable from this distance. Let's just do the flyover. Let's slow down a bit more. I'm going to take control and fly down to about 1,500 feet. Again, keep an eye on that terrain. We're going to fly over 6025. We're going to fly downwind for runway 07. Wind is going to give us 07 for landing. When we go over the airport now, this is our only opportunity really to see it. So we need to keep a good eye out visually. Now we need to make note of whether we can see the end and the beginning. I can't see the runway here too clearly, but again, if we're coming in from this sort of land direction, we're going to have more land in that direction anyway. So 1,500 feet. Now's our chance, everybody. So I'm just going to stick the autopilot back on. Just going to cheat and look out the outside. Tide is in. Tide is in, but I think we can do this. I'm going to push it. You know what I'm like here, because I think we do like to do things like that. Autopilot off. We're going to circle around now. Let's get our clean to arm. We'll get our notch of flaps in there as well. So we're going for 07 for the London. Altitude and autopilot off. Go around height for 2,000 feet. Going into clouds, we don't want this, we want to avoid these clouds. Landing lights on. Gear down, we'll bring that speed down a little bit more. So now on to downwind, runway 07. Anti-ice on the engines and the props. Round we go, base leg, runway 07. Again, we'll give it one try. The approach doesn't go too well. We alternate. There's the beach over there. This is considerably different to coming straight in the Beechcraft Baron. I can tell you, they're really nervous about this. ELT will assume it's armed co-pilot. Just send a message out now, will you? Let them know we're landing. Barra Beach traffic call Sierra Alpha Sierra Delta is attempted approach for landing runway 07. We have that nautical mile 5. Full flaps. Props fully forward. Okay, it's somewhere there. I think that's it right there, the strip. We're going to have to do very minimal speeds, and we're going to have to do probably maximum braking and try and attempt to brake as much as we can do. We've got 20 knot headwind there. It's actually gone up now to 30 knots, so 30 knot headwind, which is actually really, really ideal. 500 feet, a bit more power, we are sinking. Some further kicking in. I cannot tell where the runway is because it's not too clearly marked. Plus the tide is coming into the end there, so you can't see. Then I think it's that bit that's slightly duller than the rest. I don't know if you can see it on the map, but it is slightly duller. Just slightly over there. Your damper coming off. Okay, we're down. Brakes. Later. Oh wow, welcome to Barra Beach everybody. A bit of a slam down there at the end. I was worried we were going to overshoot into the water. So the tide has come in a little bit, but it's not as far in as I thought it would be. Did we land on the runway? I'm not 100% sure, to be honest. I'm not sure on that one. We are also going backwards, so there's obviously a slight hill here. That's that could be the wind as well. Just get it out of beta mode and just try and get it out of the runway. We are still moving back. Again, it could be the 30 knot fact that we've got 30 knot winds here on the beach, which is insane. Even with the props fully forward, it's not hang on, we got some issues here with the engines, so props are overspeeding. If you push the manifold forward, it's actually going over 1900, so we might have runaway props or something. Something might have gone wrong. It's definitely out of beta. Let's turn this aircraft around. Right, there we go, a little bit of movement now. Oh wow, welcome to Barra. We made it. We didn't have to divert. That's such a relief. Taxi lights on, landing lights off. Taxi back over to drop off our supplies and welcome everybody with open arms. Propsing is coming off. Park over here. We see how badly we landed and how far off the run we were. I'm actually quite impressed with that though. Anyway, strobes off, turn the taxi lights off. There is water and there's resting water here. Big challenge. I'm grateful and so glad to have done this for the second time though. In such bad conditions, because the Barron flight was a lot better than this, I have to say. Just a lot better conditions. This one's been really rough. Really rough in terms of visibility and just everything about it. I think we've also got a degenerator failure on the left hand side. Right, we'll park here. Parking brake is coming on. So ignition off. So further off. Pisos. Yeah, generator failed on the left side. Engine failed one, so number one engine failed. It's still spinning somehow. Potential glitch, potential bugs there that could be ironed out, I guess. And in that case, we're going to get the avionics and things off. I'm going to cut the engine power to the left-hand side. That must have failed after we landed, because it definitely was fine on landing then. We'll get for the second engine off as well. Navs, beacons, recognitions, tail floodlights. Again, make sure everything is off. Air condition, the bleed air valves. All the cabin airs can come off. Anti-ice off. Generators off. I think that's it on that side. We just need to turn the pumps off this side. So fuel pumps, boost pumps. How much fuel? We check the fuel level as well when we get out. Battery off.
Slow.
Backup ethos power. Off. Hollow lights. Thank goodness that engine failed after landing. I'm pretty confident it did, which means we had the power available. Well, Grantham CPT does it again, everybody. That was absolutely insane. Let's chop the beast up. She's sunk into the sand a little bit, but I guess we can't chop it up. We're also glitching out as we walk around here. I've never had that before. Must be a new thing at Barra Beach. Oh, I see. He's gone through the scenery, so we're not meant to park there. Right, out of the 600 kg we had, we're left with, so that's the total we started with. 20 in the wings on the right, left-hand side. 20 on the wings on the right, and then it's all gone to the nacelles. I think it added fuel in after I refueled. I think it added fuel to the nacelles, which is very, very odd. Right, moment of truth. Window heat, engine failure number 1. Maybe it was cut off or something in the landing. Replay mode. This I'm impressed. I'm just gonna say I'm impressed with the flying here. It's not great and it's not the best of landings, but it is visually, we can see it. If we can see it, in my case, I usually go for it. I'm really glad we could do that. So stick around for the replay, guys. We're gonna watch this together. Look at that, that was actually pretty good of a landing. Parking's not too good, but that landing, again, we slammed down a little bit. The aircraft's capable of doing that kind of landing, so it wasn't actually that bad, and I don't think we had an engine failure. As you can see, we circled round pretty well. We came onto downward nice, and then base and final. And we did actually land on the runway, we just landed short of it, because obviously the tide is in, so... Well, actually, no, it isn't. If you look outside, we've got quite a lot of room here to land. I'd say the tide is still out. We came in, we must have touched down then around runway 11, but we did land in that sort of direction. A lot easier from runway 25, I have to say. Thank you for being here for the Scottish Ambulance Service Task Force mission today. I'm Gunn from CVT. I really appreciate being here. And if you've enjoyed it and you felt that was a good landing, let me know in the comments. So take care, and I will see you on the next one.